Salutations, Veemers, and welcome to Video Marketing Made Easy. Brand identity sounds super fancy, like you need a double major in business and graphic design to figure it out. But with free tools available online, now any entrepreneur or nonprofit can design their own brand identity. The secret is consistency. Once you set your brand identity, use it everywhere you can. Website, business cards, email signatures, PDFs you send to clients, basically anything attached to your business or organizations. When we started our business, Jamie had very little experience with graphic designs. She struggled to make a logo for our business, but once she did, she used the logo, fonts, and colors everywhere. Along with creating a logo, we had also talked about what we wanted our business to feel like. We wanted fun, informal, energetic. So we kept a real consistent tone in everything we did for our business. The way we wrote, the way we spoke, the pictures we took. And to this day, we continue to get compliments all the time on how strong our brand is. And our branding has done the job of attracting clients that we really get along with. And probably has been repelling clients that we wouldn't think is our cup of tea. So even though brand identity might sound intimidating, it's actually pretty simple and doable, and it's really important. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and do it right now. I'll give you some time. Just click that little subscribe button right down here somewhere. And the reason is we put out videos like this every week, and I would hate for you to miss out on any of them. So if you subscribe and hit the little bell notification button, you'll never miss another future episode of Video Marketing Made Easy. Last episode, we talked about what a brand personality is and how it helps you stand out from the crowd. If you haven't watched that one yet, go back and check that out first, because you should have a feel for your brand personality before you work on your brand identity. Just to clarify, before we get into it, brand personality is like the personification of your brand. Like if your brand was a person, what would they look like, act like, sound like? And brand identity is the visual elements of your branding, how you express your brand personality in your logo, your colors, the look and feel of your graphics. It's good to have a cohesive brand identity, so there's a consistent look for everything from, say, brochures to email newsletters to social media posts and videos. And this accomplishes a couple things. One, the look is more professional and you stick in their brain. And two, when someone is scrolling their news feeds, they recognize your posts. When you work on your brand identity, make sure you're keeping in mind your brand personality and your target audience. That way you can focus in on being consistent and everything makes sense for you and your personality and identity. All cohesive. Now, disclaimer, I'm gonna take you a little bit behind the scenes of our business. Jamie, she does our editing and design, but she does not like to talk. So she actually just tells me what to say for these episodes. She wants you to know that she doesn't have formal graphic design training. This is what she's picked up over the years from working with graphic designers and designing her own graphics for commercials and other projects. If you want to hear from her, actually, you can by joining our free private Facebook group. This is where we have a live Q&A session after every VME episode. And on that, she talks a lot. So if you want to go and check that out, we encourage you to come on. It's our free Facebook group. The link is in the description below. Okay, Nato's barking, but we're going to keep on trucking. Back to what we were talking about. When you're designing graphics, we recommend defining a color palette to unify everything. Start with your logo. Whatever colors are in the logo, that will be your primary colors for your branding. Most logos only have a few colors, so it's good to have additional colors in your palette to give yourself more options. Your logo colors will be the basis for your color palette, and you want to check the hex color code for each color in your logo. The hex color code is this like hashtag pound symbol thing followed by 6 numbers and letters. And if you don't have the hex codes for your logo, just Google hex color picker and upload your logo or screenshot of your website and use the tool to get the codes. Once you have your color codes, make sure to save the codes on a document so that you can cut and paste whenever you need it. I can't tell you how many times we've had clients that didn't know or couldn't find their brand colors. We name ours Style Guide, so it's easily searchable in our drives. So now that you have your color codes, you can go to a site that generates color palettes. Jamie likes these two. On the Adobe site, you enter the hex code for the main color in your logo in the panel in the center and select from the options on the side to see different color palettes. The Cooler site is better if your logo has more than one color because you can enter multiple colors, click the lock to lock them, then click the spacebar to generate different color palettes. When you find a color palette that you like, note down the hex codes so that you can use them in all of your designs, and you can save them in that convenient document we just suggested earlier. So if you have a color in mind or one that you already are using for your branding, let me know which ones you're using. Put them in the comments below. I would love to see a whole rainbow of colors in the comments. So throw them in the comments and let me know what you guys are using or thinking about using. Okay, next, let's talk about fonts. People can go wild with fonts because, let's face it, they're really fun. But a good rule of thumb is to stick to 2 fonts unless you really feel confident about your design skills. Adding more fonts can just make your designs look amateur, if not done well. And in fact, I remember making a flyer for a company that I worked at back in the day, and I think I used a different font for every single line of that flyer. At the time, I thought it looked awesome, but my boss didn't appreciate the font example sheet that it started to resemble, and needless to say, that flyer didn't make it to print. So, in other words, tone it down a little bit on the fonts, okay? Another suggestion is that you generally have a font that shows personality as the header font, and a second font that is the body font, which will be for the regular text like subtitles, descriptions, and captions. The second font should be easy to read, so a standard looking font like serif or sans serif font is a real safe bet. The header font, that's the one that you can have fun with. It can be fun, but just make sure it's legible for your target audience. For example, a graffiti font might not be the best font for an older audience. I once had a t-shirt line that I named Legacy without the vowel, so it's LGCY. But the font that I was using, everyone thought my shirt said ugly, which is not a great name for a fashion piece. Anyways, when you're selecting fonts to use throughout your branding, think about if they will be legible over video. For example, if you have a font that's really thin, it might look great over a solid background, but it might be impossible to read over moving video. If you have no idea where to start with fonts, don't worry, just go to fontjoy.com to generate different font pairings. Once you have your color palette and your fonts, it's sometimes nice to have other graphic elements to use with your logo to make your marketing materials pop. Buying templates has been a game changer for us. Graphic designers will sell templates on different sites, and you can purchase them and personalize them, which saves you a lot of time and usually look way better than anything I could ever come up with. Now, before you go looking for a template though, you need to know which software you or your team will be using to design your graphics. Me and Jamie, we have a subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud. So Jamie uses Photoshop to design our graphics. Jamie likes Photoshop because of the flexibility, but if you don't have an Adobe subscription, Canva is easy to use and there's lots you can do without upgrading to the paid subscription. And if you're concerned with, well, I gotta learn how to use Canva, well, don't worry. There are a ton of YouTube tutorials out there on how to use Canva, including one done by our very own Pua. So we went ahead and put a link to that in the description below as well. Okay, so once you know what software you're using, look for a template that works with your brand personality, logo, and colors, and would appeal to your target audience. We use Creative Market and Envato Market. You'll want to look for templates that come with different design elements like backgrounds, shapes, and overlays. Because when you have different design elements, you can move them around so your graphics don't always look the same, and you can use it for different purposes like your YouTube banner, Instagram posts, and newsletter graphics. Pro tip, actually it's not, but I just always wanted to say that. If you go to Envato Market, be aware that the company also has a branch called Envato Elements, which is a subscription-based service. With Envato Market, you're purchasing individual products, not an ongoing subscription. That's the one that we use. Now, for your convenience, we put links to Envato Market, Creative Market, and all the tools that we mentioned here in the description below. Now, I know it's a lot, so if you have any questions or if you want to share some things that you're doing that work for you, please share them in the comments. We'd love to hear more about what you're doing, things that's working for you, and we just like to continue the conversation. So go ahead, plop those in the comment section, and if you haven't done so yet, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone else you think would benefit from learning these tips as well. And again, if you haven't joined our free private Facebook group, do so immediately. It's super fun. We have a great group of Veemers just like yourself, and we have a lot of interaction there. And if anything, the value of it is just that you get to see and hear Jamie in our live Q&A sessions after every one of these videos. So again, everything you ever need is in the description below. And that's it for this week. We'll see you next time on Video Marketing Made Easy.